カパ、子供はカパでできてます。だからカパには苦味とちょっとした辛みと渋みが必要なので、子供にはペッパーとかターメリックとかそういうの、カルダモンとかそういうのから少しずつ取り入れていくべきです。そういうふうにやっていかないとお腹の中で、内臓の中でバクテリア、ウイルスなどが繁殖してしまって、大きくなった時に病院にいつもかかって、いつも薬もらって、そのことで人生をダメにして、自分の大事な人生を、夢を作る、いい人生にすることができたはずの時間を病院で過ごしてしまうみたいなことになるのも、子供の時の習慣からによるものになってしまう。
Bitterness, when you convert it in the Ayurvedic language, it is a mixture of ether and air. And we learned when in the morning also, when we study about Vada, Vada is nothing but ether and air. And when the ether and air, we understood that the Vada is govern your whole health. And ether and air, in a way, it is related with your brain, nervous system. And once your nervous system in the good way, all your system will come to a good way. And when the Vada subdivisions you convert in the yogic language, we will come to know the equivalent of 5 divisions of Vada is Prana, Apana, Samana, Udana and Vyana. And among these 5 divisions, Prana and Apana is very important. And one of the biggest problem world is suffering is constipation and stomach related problem, especially constipation and gas trouble. And this constipation is a byproduct of you are avoiding the bitterness. And people who avoid the people who add the bitter to the taste, early morning when you wake up, the toilet will call you, darling, come on, don't run away. And you have nothing else, you will just take the underwear and run to the toilet, no other way. So if you start to take the bitter taste, the toilet will call you first. You need not to stay there. Some people are sitting in the toilet and they read big novels. Some people are seeing a wall film and still nothing happens, and they are waiting and waiting and waiting and singing some stories. When you are coming, darling, waiting for the time. This you can avoid just by surrendering to the bitter taste.
ビターテイストっていうのはすごい大事ですって話をしてますけど、ビターテイストは中に空がとってもたくさん入ってますと。空じゃない、風ですね。あれ、空と風でしたっけ、ビターテイストで、それはバーターそのものであり、脳にも、バーターは脳の活動にすごく関連しているので、脳が健康であればもうその人の健康は保証されたようなものなのでそうやって味でバーターを整えるのはすごく大事です。で、バーターは5つありますけれども、その中でも、アパーナバータが悪くなることで多くの人が病気になってしまう。よくある病気の始まりは全て便秘とガスで、それは、苦味を避けてきたからそういう風になってしまうことがあります。で、トイレに入ってなんか大きい小説読んでも、長いフィルムをスマホでずっと見ても、まだまだトイレに入ってる、何にも起こらないような状態で、そんな生活してるといつか上からお迎えが来るみたいな、家族が迎えに来るんじゃなくて上からお迎えが来るみたいな感じで言ってましたけど。
And in our Indian languages, we have good songs which you can sing when you are in toilet. We are very good in that. And one song in Hindi, मेरा सपनों को रानी कब आएंगे रा 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 asking when the tune of my dream is going to come. It is not coming, you are sitting. So you are singing when the tune is going to come. You are singing and singing, nothing is happening. This is what you in Hindi.
いつ来るのか、私の待ってるものはいつ来るのかみたいな歌みたいなんだけれども、この歌を歌ってうんこが来てくれるのを待つみたいな。
When you come to Malayalam, we have a good song. Tamasamente vajuva prana sakhi rarari La 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 la.
So
Oh darling, why you are getting late? Why you are not coming? This is what you are singing.
で
But in
私
the
の
toilet
愛し
when
い
you
人よ
sing,
な
you
ぜ来て
guys.
くれないのっていう歌らしいですよ私の愛しい人
So we can be proud that our poets have made many toilet songs.
So when we hear you are singing in the toilet, we know you are constipated.
Sure. Sure.
スワミジがトイレでこの歌を歌ってたらスワミジが便利だっていう証拠です。
So with this we will stop our today's talk. We will study about more about bitter and astringent in the coming class within the available time, and this is the time for the doubt.
はい。
Question ask.
今日はここで終わりにしますので、質問があれば聞いてください。何かありますか？ Karen, you have?
Is it better to have the bitter taste pure? Because you told we can make it a little bit sweeter with honey, and then to me it might hardly taste bitter anymore. Also, for example, the astringent with the roundings, the astringent taste. It's temptative to mix it with a little bit of rice, but is the effect less if we mix bitter and astringent with other tastes?
One thing is the bitter and astringent taste for each person will be different. We cannot make a standard measurement for him and him and him and him. When you look to her, she is more rich with the ether and air. She doesn't need much bitter taste. She needs a gentle taste. When she comes to she needs more bitter taste. So there is no ideal standard for bitter taste. Secondly, the mixing is a great science. If you mix red and green, you will get a color. What color we get by red and green?
Brown.
Which color?
Brown.
Brown. So there are hundreds of brown shades. We can say it is green. Different leaves are different green color. So if you want to make the typical color green, that average people cannot do that. You should be a great artist, either like a Da Vinci or such a great artist only can say this proportion will make this color. So mixing is always a great art. Nobody can do just by measuring cup. No. It's a great art. If you add certain things in a dish in a certain way, the whole fragrance, all taste will change. So average people cannot do the mixing. It is a great art. You need very good understanding about the art of mixing. So if you say that means how much bitter you say, you should understand the science well, then only will come to. For that, you should know who you are. Whether you are a Vada, whether you are a Pitta, whether you are a Kapha, and according to the climate, it depends. According to the present body health, it differs. So it is a flex. The morning Karen will be entirely different from evening. The morning I may be little more smiley and good, and evening after doing everything I will be a rascal. So the same man who is honey in the morning comes like a demon. So this all we have. So we are not a fixed category. It depends different things. So for that you should understand the science in a good way, and then only you can say what is. Or you should go to a doctor, a family doctor. If a family doctor there is calling, I have the problem, I know what is their kitchen. I know what are their favorite food. I know their weakness when they see something. So different things in the family I know. When the family doctor, if you call the family doctor, can get some clue about your weakness and eating, different thing, they can advise you. So if you go to a family doctor many times, the doctor know many things about you. If you go to a super specialist, they just know what is the blood pressure, what is the diabetic, different thing. They will go for a so-called test, and out of the test they make. That we don't agree in our world.
苦味のあるものを蜂蜜と混ぜると苦味どっかいっちゃうような気がするんですけどみたいなことを聞いてたと思うんですが、でも苦味っていうのはその人によって違うので、茶色もいっぱいあるように緑もいっぱいあるようにその人によって違うし、朝のカレンと夕方のカレンでは違うので、まずは自分を知ってくださいと、そして環境を知ってくださいと、でその上でフレキシブルにやってくださいみたいなことでした。で、あとインドではファミリードクターっていうのはその家族のなんか味の好みの傾向みたいなのもちゃんと把握していて、その上でアドバイスをしたりする人もいます。質問
はないですけど、日本だと食事が割と甘み、塩味、酸味になりがちな和食ってそういう風になりがちなので、意識的にやっぱり苦味を取る必要があるし、子供は苦味が苦手ですけど、なんかこう上手に取り入れていきたいなという風に改めて思いました。
So in Japan, traditional Japanese food since we don't have much spice like India, it's difficult to have bitterness, astringent taste in the food. So she was just sharing a comment that she wants to put more bitterness in the food for children as well.
If you go to the typical Japanese food, going back to 200 years, 300 years is not enough. When you take these, many of the so-called products from the, what is your favorite thing? The seed. So what I say that when if you go to North India, we will see people are eating chapati. Chapati is not a food of India. When the British, when the Arab people comes, they have polluted all things. So the so-called Japanese food, you are not seeing the real tradition of Japan if the Japanese people were intelligent. I don't know much about that. But just going reversing few 200, 300,000 years won't be enough. Many of the Japanese food, they add one thing, the seed, soya.
Yes.
So without soya, Japanese food is nothing. But soya has nothing to do with Japan. When you come to know the soya disease you get from America, and all the Japanese think anything comes from America is great, they are wise. After the Pearl Harbor attack, after the nuclear bombing, all Japanese has American fear, and all Japanese thinking what America is bringing scientific and exact science. And you have not, the typical Japanese food never needs the so-called soya. But you are not studying what the British and so-called Americans are pumping this half-cooked knowledge. We are running behind that. And if you look, the best diet of the world is standard American diet. It is called SAD. And if you go to SAD, if it is soya is that much good, they should use it. In the standard American diet, soya has no role. It has to eat by the so-called Asian dogs. Why? So you cannot come to a conclusion of the typical classical Japanese diet just by going to think. If the North Indian people, what they are eating is ugly food, they should go to Mahabharatam, they should go to Ramayanam, they should go to our classical text and see what our heroes eat. But unfortunately, the history is written for the rulers. So they have the British and Americans were good in that pollution. They want to bring their poor food culture to whole world. We should not alone become mad, let the whole world become mad. That is the policy.
200-300年前まで日本の食事って言ってもその歴史をちゃんと遡って見て日本の食事って言った方がいいので、今の食事は全部アメリカとかに影響されてしまってるから、 っていう話なんでちょっと噛み合ってないかもしれないけど、でもその遡ってみた時に日本の昔のって言っても200年300年じゃそれじゃまだ十分じゃなくて、インドの場合は遡る時はもうマハバラタまで遡ってしまうので1万年前っていうことなんだけど、なんでチャパティでさえもインドの食事じゃないともともと植民地の時にインド人じゃないイギリス人が来て、そこからポピュラーになっていったみたいなことなんで、植民地も100年ぐらい前だけど、そうじゃなくてもマハバラタぐらいまでちゃんと遡らないと、なんかそのアメリカってとか植民地の人たちっていうのが歴史を書き換えてしまうので、これがいいものだとかこれを食べるべきだとか、その国の習慣まで変えてしまって、その支配している国の人たちをダメにしようとするのがやり方だから、日本はパールハーバーもあったし核も落とされたので、アメリカの良くない影響に支配されているだろうから、その辺もちゃんと考えなさいみたいな話でした。
There was a man who was fallen with a love with a girl, and somehow that girl didn't love him, and that girl's name was bitter gourd, pavaka in our language. So he hate the bitter gourd pavaka. Whenever he hear pavaka, he will close his ear. Whenever he see pavaka, he will run away. So the word pavaka, bitter gourd, was a dirty word for him. And he was going like that, and he was working in a company. He saw a beautiful girl, and the girl one day smiled. He also smiled. And that was the beginning of a love, and they went in and they started to be in restaurant, different places. And he asked, darling, may I know what's your name? My name is Pavaka. He said, oh, such sweet name, such great, oh, so sweet. And the moment he come to know his darling name is Pavaka, he started to love Pavaka. And he became a follower of Pavaka. He eat everything with the Pavaka, in the water, in the juice, in the sauce, in everything he need Pavaka. Without Pavaka, his food is nothing. He was a man who was hating. So somebody will hate something, but in some lovable way, with understanding, you can re-educate people. So somebody who was hating Pavaka, when he understood his girlfriend's name is Pavaka, the whole thing is changed. So it is possible, but not just by pushing a button. You need some effort. We can reverse many things with study, with understanding. So India is a country, we say, let all the good knowledge come to here, whether it is from Arabia, whether it is from Japan, whether it is China, all the good things let come to here. We are ready to accept. We accept that it is from Greece. We were getting good sulfur from Rome. We were getting good mercury from some other country. We were getting the so-called Madhusuni Chinese root from China. Let come. What is wrong in the good? So we were not saying it is not in our text, no. We said all the good things let come. So if we have that open mind, why can't we start something good? Why you should say in the Japanese culture it is not there? But who are you to say about the Japanese culture? You are living here 70 years. In the 70 years, 30 years you sleep. 40 years, 15 years you will be a child and old age. And how much time we live? 20 years. In that 20 years, what we can read, what we can learn. And who are me to say about the world culture? What investment I made? What text I read? So somebody is coming in the television, boost, Horlicks, tofu, such things are coming, we think it is right because it is film star, great people. We are going blindly. We are not interested to go to the root of the culture. If you go to the traditional, typical root of the Japanese food, I am sure people were intelligent. We think all children, I think my father and mother is fools. And my children are thinking the same thing to me. We think we are more efficient than our parents. This is what all the children think. So it is quite usual. But our forefathers were very intelligent. They had the practical intelligence to go through the difficulties. But we think our parents were fools. They were donkeys, they were monkeys. This is what we were taught by the so-called world experts taught that human being came from monkeys. And when I say my father was a monkey